Hello everyone, this is Shrikar here. Welcome to building the second app in Build an App Every Month series. In January, we built a IKEA clone where we learned about different iOS concepts like UI table views, core location, and parse. This month, we will be building a simple barcode application which will help in inventory management, and in doing so, we will learn about AVFoundation and core data. I have already put out the code for identifying barcode on Shrikar.com. So if you haven't done that part, I strongly suggest you to complete it before continuing. Also, after building the first app, I got a lot of requests from users for asking for video tutorials. So from now on, whenever we are building the app UI, we will stick to video tutorials. This is the previous version of the app. As you can see, it's a blank screen. That's because the simulator doesn't have a camera and hence the AV capture won't work. But on the actual device, you should be able to see a camera capture preview layer which will detect the barcodes. For this simple app, we will have a tab bar application wherein we will be using one tab for the barcode scanning, and the second one we use it for listing the inventory. So let's get started. This is the initial view controller on the main storyboard. Let's select the view controller and then click on edit, embed in tab bar controller. Also, let's click on the view controller again and say editor, embed in navigation controller. Let's go ahead and arrange these views controllers. Let's do it like this. Now from the object library, we can drag in UI table view controller and drag it onto the main storyboard like so. And also let's go ahead and embed it in navigation controller. At this point of time, we should see something like this. Let's arrange it and then control drag from the tab bar controller onto the navigation controller and then say select relationship segue as view controllers. So if you go ahead and run the app right now, you should be able to see a simple tab bar application which has two tabs. One is item here and the second item is table view. To make it more clear, let's go ahead and change these items. Let's make this one, let's call it as favorites. You should be able to basically have a camera image which can signify that we will be using the camera for capturing the barcode. Similarly for this, let's go ahead and like a list icon or something like that, but for the sake of this tutorial we'll be using it as a search. That should be fine. So if you go ahead and run the app now, we see that this is like the barcode scanning area and this is the inventory listing area. So what we can do is whenever we scan the barcode, we should be able to provide more actions like getting more information about that particular product, or like adding it to an inventory or something like that. So let's select this view controller, go to the object library and click on a button. Oh, before that we should drag in a UI view. So we dragged in the UI view and let's go ahead and change the height to, let's say, 75. That looks good. Also, let's go to the attribute inspector and change the background from white color to something like a light gray. That looks good. Let's go ahead and align it. With this particular view selected, let's add some auto layout constraints. So click on the pin icon here, unclick this constraints to margin. Let's add three constraints. Sorry. Then also we forgot to add one more constraint, which is the height constraint. So also we need to add two more buttons to this. Let's go and say it as get details and the other one as add to inventory or something like that. Now select these two buttons and let's go ahead and align it vertically in the container. That should be fine. As you can see that there is this red lines here, which means that data layout constraints are not satisfied. So let's click on this button and click on, or you know what, let's go ahead and control drag from the button to the end here, say leading space to the container. Similarly, we can do it for this button, control drag from here to the right side, say trailing space to the container. Now you should be able to see these blue lines, which means that data layout constraints are satisfied. So Command R, let's go ahead and run it again. Okay, so we messed this thing up because of the width. What we can do now is let's give one more constraint between these two, which is, let's go ahead and click on this and change the priority to, instead from 1000 to like 100. Similarly for this one, let's say click on this and let's change it to 100. There is one more constraint which we can add between the horizontal spacing, control drag from this button to this button, horizontal spacing. That will be at a higher priority, so we always make sure that the gap between these two buttons is at least 105 points. Go ahead and come run this application again. Now you see that it's messed up because we messed this thing up. I think we changed this. Oh, that's right, we can't actually do that. Let's do it the other way. Let's click on this icons here, this constraints, remove all the constraints for now. Click on this and remove it. Similarly for this icon, let's go ahead. Okay, there is no, okay, that should be fine. Let's go ahead and click on the pin button directly. Let's do, instead of doing this, let's say, let's put it as 20 pixel. That was, I think, the big problem. Add one constraint. Similarly for this one, let's move to the end here. Let's give it as like 50 points. Let's give it 50 points to the left. 50 point, add one constraint. Click on update frames. So what did we provide for this one? Forgot, it's 134, it's way too much. Click on the constraints here. Now that's correct. Just click on update frames for this, which looks good to me. Run it again, Command R. Now that looks good. At this point of time, we can actually add some more change. We can do some more changes to the UI table view. Let's go ahead and add a bar button item, which we can use for adding the items. Let's go ahead and click that bar button item, go to the custom and let's make it as add. So you see this plus icon here. If you run the project now, you should be able to get a good idea of what we can do. These buttons, we don't have any actions associated with that, but we will be adding the actions in the next tutorials. So if you go to the inventory list, we have this icon which we can use for adding new products. One more thing what we can do is, let's go ahead and change the navigation bar title to inventory list, and let's do the same thing for scan barcode. Scan barcode. So this is scan barcode is good. Let's go to the inventory list. That looks good. Okay, that's it for this tutorial, guys. In the next episode, we'll be adding some more actions like creating a new product in the inventory list and adding it to this UI table view. So if you have any other questions, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you.